Georgia quarterback Carson Beck is clearly one of the top quarterbacks in the country heading into the 2024 season. And that is good news for Georgia because they will be playing against some of the top quarterbacks across the country. So they've got one on their sideline, and that's a big deal because it almost seems like week after week, the Dogs are going to be facing a really good quarterback. I'm going to be breaking that down in this video. But when I say some of the best quarterbacks in the country, I'm not talking about Cade Klubnik, the guy starting for Clemson or trying to start for Clemson. That should be, I don't want to say a piece of cake, but I don't think this kid is a good quarterback. I think he is frantic. I don't think he has NFL arm talent. I think he is an outstanding high school football player who was just an average quarterback. 2,844 yards, 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, only completed 64% of his passes. In the ACC, I don't think he's a good decision maker. I don't think this kid can beat Georgia. I think it's going to be rough for Cade Klubnik and the Tiger offense, which is just, it's been vanilla for 2-3 years now. There's no explosiveness. There's no cohesiveness. I don't see how this kid in that Clemson offense does much of anything against Georgia in Atlanta. We'll see. Maybe he takes a massive jump from year 2 to year 3 because he needs one if he wants to have even a decent game against the Dogs. 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions to end the season last year against South Carolina and Kentucky, 2 SEC opponents that just crushed him in that Tiger offense. I don't think this kid has it. Should be a walk in the park a little bit, against Clemson and this kid. But week 3, they've got Brock Vandagriff, a guy that the Georgia staff knows all about. I have a really tough time seeing Brock Vandagriff and the Kentucky offense doing a whole lot against this Georgia defense. And I've said for a while, I like Georgia's offense right now a little bit more than the defense, but I don't think the defense is going to have any problems with Cade Klubnik and Brock Vandagriff. Even though I do think Brock is a good quarterback and have a good season, just not against a Kirby Smart defense that, again, they know his tendencies, they know his strengths and weaknesses. I think he'll have an impressive year, better than most people think, but not against Georgia. Week 5, I got Jalen Milroe, who is a consensus top 10 quarterback in the country, a guy who's beat Georgia before, right? He's not the quarterback that Carson Beck is, but he's a tremendous athlete. He's an electric playmaker, and every once in a while, he will deliver a beautiful deep ball down the field. So the arm, there's flashes of big play potential out of his arm, and we'll see how he goes with this new coach, this new offensive scheme. This guy's not Michael Penix Jr., so Kalen DeBoer coming in, I think this is going to take a little time for him to develop the way he wants. It could be a struggle at times, but Jalen Milroe is still a legit playmaker and a guy who's already beat Georgia before and thrown for 2 touchdowns in that game in a win and made big throws down the stretch, whatever you want to say. But again, he was sacked 44 times last year. 4 against Georgia, 6 against Michigan. If he doesn't have this offense down pat, I don't think he's got the receivers, the weapons around him as much, but it could be really tough for this guy to also make plays against the Georgia defense that has this game circled, and they want to beat him and get after him, especially after what happened last year. So you got 3 quarterbacks, to start the year. 2 are, 1 is completely average, Cade Klubnik. Brock Vandagriff's kind of a question mark. And Jalen Milroe, a top 10 quarterback. Week 6, Auburn, Peyton Thorne, no problem. No problem. This kid is completely average at best. Not trying to be mean, but this guy's not beating Georgia. He's not good enough to beat Georgia. We can be real. We can be realistic. But barely threw for 1,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Not going to cut it. But he can move. He is mobile, and he had a big run against the Dogs. But Peyton Thorne is not beating Georgia in Athens. Just not happening. He's not that guy. Before I continue, because the quarterbacks are going to be towards the end of the schedule. That's when they're going to see some of the top quarterbacks across the country, in my opinion. We're going to break that down in a second. But get your Bulldog, collegebronze.com. Still looking for Father's Day gift, graduation gift. This is it right here. You can get a discount today. Promo code DOGPOST to get the best looking statue on the market. The metal spikes are just one element that makes this the best Bulldog statue on the market. All the info is down in the description in this video. You can order one, use the promo code DOGPOST, DAWGPOST, to get a discount. It's one of our favorite things in the house. It's a perfect gift. Everyone's gonna love it. Get yours today with that discount. Again, everything is in the description below. Week 7, they have Mississippi State. They might be playing a freshman, Michael Van Buren, a impressive kid that they signed in December. I think that's the future. I don't know if he's starting this year. I think that's still a question mark. So they don't have to worry about the quarterback in Mississippi State beating them. Week 8, then comes Quinn Ewers. If you don't think Carson Beck is the best quarterback in college football right now, most would say it's Quinn Ewers, a guy that had Trevor Lawrence type of hype out of high school, one of the best high school quarterbacks or the highest ranked quarterbacks of all time. And he hasn't shown that, but he had a good year last year. It was really good. Just about 3,500 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, completed 69% of his passes. Just hasn't been consistent. The arm is there, and he has flashed NFL arm talent, and he can push the ball vertically. He throws a nice deep ball. He's got the arm talent. There's no doubt about it. Can he be a little more accurate? Can he be a little more consistent? And again, with this footwork and the fundamentals, I think he's still working on that type of stuff. But if Georgia can get after him and force him to make some bad decisions, I think they can absolutely come out with a win in Austin. But he's a really good quarterback, and this might be the year if he continues to take a step from what was a really good year to this year. He could, be a guy that's in the Heisman Trophy conversation throughout the year, and maybe one of the first quarterbacks taken in the draft. So massive year for Quinn Ewers. He's got this, game scheduled or circled on the schedule. He wants to show out against a Georgia Bulldog defense to help his stock and help his team have a big year. So obviously one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Georgia will take on him week 8. Week 9, Graham Mertz. I put him in the same category as Peyton Thorne and Cade Klubnik. He's not a guy who's good enough to beat Georgia. He's coming off a better year than people think, just under 3,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He takes care of the football, but he's not a guy who's scaring anyone. He doesn't have NFL arm talent. He's not a guy that can beat Georgia with his arm. So again, he's not one of the guys I'm talking about when I'm talking about the best quarterbacks in the country. I am talking about Quinn Ewers and Jalen Milroe, and this next time I'm talking about Jackson Dart, and a consensus top 5 quarterback in the country, coming off a really good year for under Lane Kiffin. 3,346 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He knows that playbook very well. He knows what he's doing. He's a multi-year starter. He's got a strong arm, and he's getting better and better. If he continues to improve under Lane Kiffin, they're going to put up points all year long. But this is a guy that flashes NFL potential. I don't think he's going to be an NFL starter down the line. I don't think his arm is that good, but he is a really good college quarterback who still has his best year ahead of him. So he's one of the top quarterbacks in the country that Georgia will face. That's further down the schedule, but at home, he's going to want to show out. And maybe Ole Miss is in a position where they need this win to secure a big-time spot in the playoff or the SEC championship game. Again, this is going to be a massive game in college football down the stretch. He is going to want to have a big game against this Georgia defense. After that, Tennessee, they got Nico. Nico. We're just going to call him that. I'm not going to try to pronounce the last name because right now I think I'm going to butcher it. But everyone will know exactly how to spell his or pronounce his last name in the fall. I think he's a really good quarterback. Was a 5-star, one of the top overall prospects, I believe, out of that 2023 class. 6'6", 205, can absolutely sling it. I think this could be the best Tennessee quarterback they've had in quite a while. I was high on him out of high school, and I think that him being the starter this year, knowing he's the starter, this is a big offseason. I think he has the potential to have a really, really strong sophomore season. Is he good enough to beat Georgia? We don't know yet. I think it's going to be really tough for him as a first-year quarterback with the weapons around him and that offensive line to go into Athens and win. Again, I think he's a good quarterback, and I think by the end of the year, we could be talking about him being one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC and possibly the country for next year. But he's definitely a guy to know. I think his potential could be better than Hendon Hooker. I think he's better than Joe Milton. So I like where Tennessee is heading because I really like this quarterback. He could give Georgia some problems, and he'll try to test Georgia down the field because he can sling it. He's got big-time arm talent. So there could be some passes where we say, oh, this kid can play. That was a really nice throw. That was a really nice throw. He may make enough plays to keep Tennessee in it longer than people expect, but I don't see him going into Athens and winning that game. And then let's talk about Haynes King at Georgia Tech. This guy is better than you think. One of the best quarterbacks in the ACC, a mobile kid, one of the top dual threat quarterbacks you'll find across college football. I really believe that. 2,755 yards, 26 touchdowns. He ran for 650 and 9 touchdowns. He runs that offense well. Returning starter. I know a lot of people loved him when he was at Texas A&M. The kid can play, and he can throw, and he can run, and he showed that a little bit. And he gave Georgia some trouble last year, a little bit of trouble. He should be even better. I mean, that's not a slouch. I think there are a lot of teams that would love Haynes King, but Georgia Tech has him. I think he could have a really good year. So, Georgia has one of the toughest schedules in the country. I'm not sure there are other teams who can go down the list. And, maybe I'm too hard on Cade Klubnik. Maybe a lot of people think he's better than I do. That's possible. Maybe people are higher on Peyton Thorne and Graham Mertz. If that's the case, then this list looks even more daunting. But there are guys that I think are completely average, and then there are a few guys that I think, yeah, this guy's one of the best in college football. Georgia will be playing some good quarterbacks, maybe more good to really good quarterbacks than I think most of the other programs in the country. But that could be Georgia's biggest test this year, facing good to really good quarterbacks just about every week. Thankfully, they've got one on their own at Carson Beck. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you on the website. Get your statue today. Again, promo code DOGPOST down in the link below. Make sure you do that. It's the best gift out there. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you on the website.